We
We're
are live.
live.
Hello. Hello. Anyone here? Probably not right now. We're going to talk
Let's
about
check.
Twilight. Again, round two. This is the end of the series, and wow, we have questions.
We have questions and comments and all kinds. Yeah, we got all kinds of
Questions,
things.
comments, critiques. It's all welcome here. Drop it in
Concerns.
the chat. Just, we're really here to shit talk and to love this all at the same time. So first things first, since we haven't really talked face to face in a minute, how have you been, Queen? Also introduce yourself. Everyone
Uh,
knows you here.
Thank you. I am Antonisha Lachey. Mrs. Moody Reader is my YouTube channel, and I've recently changed my Instagram to a book and a plan. But yeah, have a booktube channel here as well where I talk about a little bit of everything because I'm reading a little bit of everything. And yeah, I've been wanting to read Twilight for a minute. I started it last year. Thanks to James, I've now technically gotten through it. I still have Midnight Sun, which is on my TBR for this month, and I think I'm actually going to get it done. And then I want to go back and read. What's the other one?
Life and Death. Yeah. Cool. I think I lost you.
Wow.
We're
Yeah.
having some technical difficulties, guys. Bear with us. Ooh. Hello? Oh, man. Well, luckily no one's here right now. I don't know if you can hear me at all. I don't know what to do here. You're completely frozen. Hold on, I'm gonna type in the chat. Can you see or hear me? We're so professional right now. So professional. Okay. She's gone away. She's gonna come back. Okay, fantastic. I would feel the need to talk to people, but there's not anyone here right now. But then also, if people watch this back, I'm gonna look really weird just doing this. Okay. There we are. Hello.
Okay. Can you see and hear me?
I can. Let's see how long we last.
Okay. So I think it's my Wi-Fi because my kids have all their devices and the TV streaming stuff. So I
Oh,
got off of my Wi-Fi because I've got cellular data on my iPad. So I just cut off the Wi-Fi and I think we should be good. Yeah, because I've got better signal on data than I had on Wi-Fi. So I think we should be good.
awesome. Would it be us if there wasn't a little glitch?
I know it's one of those things where I love going live, although it's a little unpredictable with my health, but I love being live, but you can't edit out issues, so there's
Yeah.
always that.
I was like, this is gonna be great if people go back and watch this, and I'm just sitting here
I saw
bobbing
you because
along.
look, I have it up on my phone because I was making sure we were live, and I was like, well, I can send a comment on my phone and let you know I'm coming back. So yeah, this is gonna be fun to watch after the fact.
Okay, well, before we went down, Antonisha was just introducing herself. Definitely go subscribe to her channel, Mrs. Moody Reader. You know her, you love her. I guess, it's been long enough. If people come in or if they rewatch, here we are.
Yes,
Um,
because I've got thoughts, like I said, opinions, questions,
yes,
hopes
all
and
of it.
dreams for this series. I never thought I would be so into this series like so long after it came out, but I'm just like,
Yeah,
can
it's
you
it's
please
truly
write something else in this world?
yeah. Reading it as an adult, like I thought I was gonna hate it. Like I thought I was gonna hate everything completely because I just had it on such a huge pedestal, and like I
Gotcha.
see the problems. Like I don't have it on this unrealistic, thing anymore. But I also think society went really hard on this thing, and they were like, "This is awful," just because like girls tended to like it more, I guess, and that's kind of like a trend that happens. But yeah, I felt it was still very strong content overall. There were things I would change, but I didn't write it, so that's fine.
Yeah, so to be honest, so reading this as an adult, as a female, and for the first time, like I did see the problematic issues, but I didn't think they were anywhere near as major as everyone had made them out to be. Like I
Hmm.
said this when I read Twilight, the at the very beginning. Like I got to this point in the book where I saw exactly what I wanted to see. I saw Bella and Edward both acknowledge that this is not good, this is crazy, this is problematic, but we're going to do it anyway. And
Right.
at that point, I was just along for the ride because I felt like all the problematic issues that happened before then was like this unhealthy obsession that she had with Edward and with danger and all of this other stuff. But I feel like once the characters themselves acknowledge, not just in their mind, but like acknowledge out loud to each other that this is problematic, but we're going to do it anyway, I felt like I don't want to say like all the blame shifted off of Stephanie, but I feel like as a reader, I didn't feel like the rant that I had with The Shining, like I didn't feel like the author
Hmm.
was trying to make me believe that this is okay and I feel like there's a problem. Like the author has made the characters put it out there that this is not good, but they're going to do it anyway. So I'm just
Yeah.
sitting back and going along for the ride. And I also feel like some of the criticisms that I personally have heard throughout the years. Like I honestly feel like, and I don't know this for sure, but I really had a strong feeling that people maybe watched the first movie, didn't read the books at all, watched the first
Hmm.
movie, and maybe didn't even watch future movies. They just watched the first
For
one and was just like, this is just trash. Because that first movie was trash.
sure.
The book I loved it, but that first movie was absolute garbage. Like I
It's
can't.
very cringe. I love it, but also it's very cringe. It's
It yeah, it was so trash to me. I so for one, and I'm wondering if I had given myself a little bit of space between reading the book and watching the movie. Sorry, somebody's coming in from outside. Um, if I had given myself a little bit of space, because remember, I jumped right from reading the book to watching the movie like 45 minutes
yeah.
later. And then with the
Hmm.
future books, I watched them like a couple days later. And I was a little more okay with like the changes that the movie made to what was
Hmm.
in the book. But that first movie, man, it was
See, I feel
oh,
like I did that to myself with the Eclipse movie because I was trying to just get through it. And don't get me wrong, the Eclipse movie just makes me angry. But having just read the book and then jumping right into the movie, I was literally like on the phone with my partner. I was like, "This is trash. Like, why did anyone care about this? Like, why are there so many close-ups? Why is this just awful?" And then I rewatched it like 3 days later, and I was like, this isn't great, but it's not terrible.
yeah. I feel like by far I think by far New Moon. I don't know if New Moon's my favorite. New Moon is my favorite. I don't know if it's my favorite movie wise either because that scene with Alice's vision in the Volturi, like we'll get to that eventually, but that
Yeah.
that was just life. So I don't know. I
Yeah,
can't pick one. I
literally
literally
everything.
want to reread the entire series already, which I did not think. I was like, okay, I'm gonna read through it. I'm probably gonna enjoy it because I love vampires, but it's
Hmm.
just gonna be like checked off my list. I got through the Twilight Saga, and now I'm just like, I still have Midnight Sun, and I still have Life After Death, but it's like I want to go back to Twilight and read it from the beginning again, and I'm just like, so
Yeah, I
I'm
think
very
I've decided
procrastinating.
that like 10 years was too long, and it's probably just going to be something I read every year, like around the wintry vibe time, because it just literally was, it was so much fun. Like I had so much fun throughout the whole process, even through Eclipse when I was literally angry. I haven't gotten up the Eclipse vlog or the
Okay,
Breaking Dawn vlog, but in both I got very ranty.
okay.
So yeah, let's just go in with Eclipse. Book Book I know you really liked, right? I think you rated it pretty highly.
Okay, hold on. I'm trying to, because like they're all running in my mind right now, so I'm trying to figure out where Eclipse ends and Breaking Dawn begins.
Mm.
Do, 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 do.
I think Eclipse ends in like a another meadow scene where they're like
Of course.
trying to decide how to tell Charlie maybe that's, I don't know. I don't know. Because that was probably at the beginning of Eclipse actually. Let's see.
I'm trying to figure out. So like wedding invitation, all of that in was all of that. Well, Breaking Dawn is a chunky book, so.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah. Pretty much everything like wedding, all the
Okay,
decorations.
this is what it was. Okay, so that's what I was thinking. So Eclipse ended with Jacob seeing the wedding invitation and then he ran. That's
Hmm.
what I was
Yeah.
that's what I was wondering. Okay, so now I'm good. That's what I was trying
Yeah.
to figure out, like when did that happen? Okay, so that was at the end of Eclipse. So yeah,
Mhm.
Breaking then I take that back. Breaking Dawn is probably gonna be my favorite. No, I can't. Oh, I don't know.
Look, here's the thing though. It's very hard for me too. I feel like New Moon is the obvious answer because I've loved it for so long, but I've loved it for so long, so deeply that hello Amy, hey Queen. I've loved
Hey,
it for so
Amy.
long and so deeply that I don't want to betray it. I don't want to let it go. But Breaking Dawn, I genuinely was not expecting to love so much. I thought it was going to be just like plot development hell. Like, I thought it was going to be awful. And while there's not action like in the movies or like action, there actually was a lot of stuff in it that I didn't remember, and a lot of just, I don't know, really good world building. I really loved all of the conflict with the wolves when Jacob splits off from the pack and you just hear the
Yes.
silence. Like, that was done so well. I was so into the first, like, essentially Breaking Dawn Part 1 where they split the movie. That part of Breaking Dawn, I am just obsessed with it in terms of the book.
See, that's why I can't. That's why it's so hard because I understand why they split the movie, and I greatly appreciate it because it allowed them to really flesh out a lot of the scenes. I watch them back to back, so it all blurs into me. So
Yeah.
funny thing, I'm looking at StoryGraph. I rated New Moon higher than I rated Breaking Dawn, but I think I enjoyed Breaking Dawn more.
Hmm. See,
So
that's me too. I rated New Moon. I think my ratings have gone. I'll have to look for sure on Twilight. I think I gave that one like a 3.75. Enjoyable, but I was so over it. Um,
I
I
know.
also had just read Life and Death, and it's the same. It's the same until,
Yeah.
kind of the.
See, that's why I was
Um,
like Life and Death and Midnight Sun. I was like, I want to read them, but I wanted to separate them from
mhm.
the main four books as much as possible so I wouldn't just get bogged down with it. But yeah,
Yeah.
Twilight. So Twilight, I gave 4.5 stars. New Moon and Eclipse, I gave 5 stars. Bree Tanner got 4 stars, and then Breaking Dawn got 4 stars.
Let me pull up my thing just to make sure. But I know for a fact I gave New Moon a 5 star. Like, we've been new. Let's not kid
Yes.
ourselves. Um,
I think the reason why Breaking Dawn didn't get 5 stars from me was because of Jacob. I told you I think in at the end of New Moon, I think I was done with Jacob.
yeah.
And I think the whole imprinting on Renesmee, like that sent me over the edge. I was just like,
Yeah.
I did well, actually I take that back. Let's back up. I was over Jacob in New Moon. Then I was over him See, that's why I think I love Breaking Dawn, because all the things that I love happened in Breaking Dawn, and the things that I hated about Jacob, which made me love the book because I didn't like him. But like
Mhm.
the whole putting his hands on Bella at her wedding, and
Mhm.
the like, just the whole, we can have a whole discussion about like me choosing Edward over
Yeah,
Jacob. It
honestly, just we that Stephanie and how she geared Jacob's character. Honestly, I really do love Jacob. I love the core of the character. However, I'm really just I was so infuriated reading Eclipse. Like I was just so mad. Like the kissing scene, like is so much worse than it was in the movie, and it's like it's already bad. It's like sexual assault. Come on, but it's so much worse in the book because he's like. You're just not even trying, like the one on the mountaintop where she actually,
yeah.
consents, but through manipulation. He's like, you're not
I was
even
about to
trying
say,
to
is
make
that really
me.
consent?
Yeah, not at all. Not at all. So Eclipse is just really where Jacob was a no for me. And as far as the imprinting thing goes, I'm kind of side eyeing Stephanie because I'm like, that's just weird. Like the fact that we had to put that on screen and then they made it weird on screen with the whole, can I call you dad now? Like that doesn't happen in the book. Why did we have to say that? That was
Yeah.
weird.
I
Um,
so to be honest, it it wasn't, I mean, it was weird, but that's not why I didn't like it. Because remember when either Quill or Embry, one of the other guys, imprinted on the little girl, and when I first read that, I was like, this is weird. Why is
mhm.
this here? Why is this in the book? And then when I saw what happened with Jacob and Renesmee, I was like, okay, now I
It's kind of like
see.
forcing it in.
Yeah, I see why that was put there, because she knew that she was going to do it. And it's like, it's a little bit easier to excuse it with side characters. And then also, you had Jacob explaining to Bella when she freaked out about it, about kind of how
Mhm.
it works, and that like there's nothing sexual. It's more like he's a big brother to her type thing. And so I remember that, and that made it a little less weird. But my problem
Mhm.
was, I was just done with Jacob. I wish he was just gone a couple books ago. So it's like
See, I think
there was no reason for him to stick around, and then you gave him a reason to stick around in Renesmee, and
yeah.
I didn't like it, but I really did like Jacob and the other Pack's presence in the scene with the Volturi. So I was like, I'm kind of glad he stayed, but I really was not glad he stayed. So
Yeah.
that was the biggest thing. It's just I wanted to be done with Jacob so long ago, and it was just like you were forcing him to stay, and it's just like it was one of those things where I feel like, even though Bella had these inner thoughts about what it would be like to be with Jacob, and how normal, even though he's a
Mhm.
werewolf, how normal it would be to be with
Right.
him, she never outwardly showed that to him. She kept making it clear to him that this is not going on any further. I'm never going to choose you over Edward. Even when Edward wasn't there, she made
Yeah.
it clear that it's still going to be him. It's still not going to be you. And it's just like the fact that Jacob would not give up, and he kept almost basically forcing her to try to have feelings where there weren't
Trying
any.
to think for her.
Yeah, and that was the thing that bugged me, especially when you compare him to Edward, when Edward was like, if you make her happy and if you keep her safe, I'm willing to let her go
Mhm.
just so she can be happy. When, she was pregnant, and he was like, if you can talk her into getting rid of this thing, and if she still wants to have a child, she can have a child with you. Like the fact that he's like, I'm willing to, like, this is no longer your girlfriend that you're in love, this is your wife, and you're willing
Mhm.
to let your wife go and go get impregnated by another man just because that would make her happy and keep her safe. Like that says a whole lot. And Jacob never once wanted to do what made Bella happy. It's just like,
Right.
I want you, I want to be with you, therefore it should be. And like I said, I was just over him. I was just so over him. But
Yeah. And I think the thing with Jacob in general is that like the movies kind of make Edward a little more toxic than he actually was in the books, and then they kind of make Jacob a little less toxic than he was in the books to kind of level out the
I
playing field.
okay. I thought it was just me that noticed that, because I was like, in the books, I absolutely loved Edward and I absolutely hated Jacob. But in the movies, I never ever hated Edward, but I was just like side eyeing Edward in the movie
Hmm.
sometimes. And Jacob was like, okay, he's tolerable. And I was just like, and I didn't know if it was just me seeing them on screen or if there really was this, because like when Jacob was in wolf form, like I loved him because he wasn't talking. So there's that. But I loved him being there in wolf form. But when he was in human form, I'm just like, dude, go away. And I noticed that when I was watching it, but I was like, okay, maybe it's just me. I don't know. But I did notice that like he was just a little bit more bearable. Jacob was a little more bearable when I watched him in the movie. And
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't feel like Edward was more toxic. I think to me, honestly, I think that Edward was a little more endearing on camera because, and this is just from my perspective of having been in love with vampires for forever. And I always, most people have um like you have like vampires being like absolutely beautiful, but then you have that face that they make when they turn, especially because I grew up watching Buffy.
Hmm.
So like when Angel and Spike, like when they turned and their face got all messed up, like
Yeah.
sometimes that's how I pictured Edward when he was upset in the book. But even in the movie, his face never changed. Like you could see in his face
Hmm.
that he was upset, but obviously he didn't turn into like a monster type face. So I think the movies almost made Edward seem a little bit softer to me, which I didn't like. I felt like, I don't know, I just felt like he had a very strong and domineering presence in the book that sometimes got softened in the movies, and I didn't like that about him.
Yeah, I feel like mainly the Eclipse movie is what really, up to this point and rereading the books and kind of seeing the actual context, is what made me dislike Edward for so long, because he just really, like, destroying Bella's truck, which I mean it's just a part that he puts back on, but like he does that in the book too. But in the movie, it would just make me so mad. Like he would just be like, "No, you can't do that. You can't do that." The thing though in Eclipse that they didn't show in the movie was him actually having that growth, and that's what kind of pulled me towards Edward this go around, because he actually just has a moment in Eclipse where he's like, you know what, you're gonna do
You're gonna
what
do it
you're
anyway.
so like why am I gonna sit here and try and control it? Like do whatever you want to do, and I'll try and not let you die. Like
Pretty much. And like I said, that to me is just, it just adds to it. It's like he like, no, I didn't like him destroying her truck. I don't like anybody telling someone else what to do, which is why I don't like Jacob. I'm gonna constantly be talking about why I don't like Jacob. But I did like the fact that he did have that moment when he was just like you said, like you're gonna do it anyway. So the best that I can do is try to facilitate some safe way to do it, and try to make sure you don't die. And so, and like I said, not only just the growth he had in that, but the major growth that he had, like I said, when it comes to trusting Jacob, which y'all were sworn enemies, like lifetime
Mhm.
enemies, and the fact that he was okay with like, okay, I know that if she's on the reservation, she's safe. And so I'm gonna come to this agreement with Jacob because he's her friend. He wants to see her. And just like I said, just little things like that where, although like what's her face? What's Blondie's name? I can't think of her name right now.
Rosalie.
Rosalie. When like she would constantly call him dog or mutt, or even Alice would sometimes too. Like I always noticed that Edward, after he realized that okay, Bella's gonna have a friendship with Jacob, he kind of stopped trash talking about Jacob and the werewolves like
Yeah.
in Bella's presence, whereas Jacob didn't let up on it, and is
Yeah, for sure.
eventually he calmed down with it, but like especially in like New Moon, and it was just like cold-blooded bloodsucker. Like he just kept going on, and it was just like, don't you realize, don't you see how much you're hurting her every time you keep doing this? And like I said,
Right.
it just, it's just, I don't know. It was just, I feel like if Jacob had had even one moment of growth, I would have
Yeah.
liked him
Just
a little
like
bit more. Like
self-awareness at all.
yeah, he never had it, and literally the only reason why he even had the shift from the way he felt and acted towards Bella is because he imprinted with Renesmee. Like that was it. Even up to her going in, not going into labor, but the baby coming, and he was just like, grossed out and didn't want to see it and all of this other stuff. So it's just like, and literally it takes you going downstairs and then you imprint with her freaking baby, and now you and Bella are cool. And I'm just like part of me really wished that she had killed him when she first found out. But then I was like, no, that would cause a whole lot of other issues. So I'm like, no, we can't do that. But like when she
Look,
went and she jumped on him, I was like, yes, this is the Bella I've been waiting for.
while we're right here at the imprinting scene, Amy said, yes, the imprinting did not sit well with me. Honestly, I've not met one person who was like, this is great. This is a good time. And like, she also said, I'm Team Bella, drove me nuts. Fair, especially the first book.
Yes, I look, y'all saw from that blog. I didn't get around to doing my other blogs for the other books, but Bella, I was like, Bella's gonna be the death of me. Like I felt like Edward, like she's gonna be the death of me. Like I cannot with her. And even as she, like obviously we saw, I would say we saw the most growth with Bella, but like Vampire Bella, like, oh yes, I could rock with her all day. Like that.
Yeah,
that's
she's
the Bella
honestly
I was
such a
for.
queen. Such a queen.
Like that badass Bella, like that's who I could rock with all day. But yeah.
If nothing else throughout this process, I have went from kind of agreeing with the like general population that Bella Swan as a character is bad, probably due to the first movie. Like we said, a lot of people just saw that and just judged the rest of it. But I kind of agreed. But like now that I've went back through it, I actually really love her character. Like she is a good character. Like she does have growth. She has like all of these like really strong things about her that everyone just kind of glosses over, even in the text, because we're in her head. But I think she's a fantastic character.
I do too. Like I honestly, and I remember saying it when I did the vlog for Twilight. I was like, you have to understand she is a teenager. She's acting like a teenager. Like it doesn't matter what age you are and you're reading this book. It doesn't matter because, and I think I said it in there. I said something about it. Like people like to like write off, especially a lot of booktubers when they're like reading YA and they're like, oh, well, all of their little teenage emotions, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, what were your emotions like when you were a teenager? Obviously, as an adult, I'm not going to feel the way that you feel. But as a teenager, like I can relate to those feelings when I was a teenager and being head over heels in love, not caring that this is the wrong person for me to be in love with. Right. But I'm like, these are teenage emotions. And, it was just like, she was just such a real character to me. Like for me, I've never been a character-driven reader. I've slowly turned into one over this year. I've always been about plot because I've always read mysteries and thrillers where I could care less about the characters. But like after reading like fantasy and sci-fi and other genres a lot this year, like I really get into characters, and I feel like a character will not annoy me and get under my skin unless I feel like they're a well-developed character, unless they're getting under my skin because they're badly written. But I feel like she was a really, really good character. She was a very, very relatable character. And like I said, just seeing that growth in her was just amazing, especially like seeing that growth in like her, just the maturity that she had. But the one thing that I would say is that even though like a lot of people are like, oh, she's, obsessed with Edward and it's unhealthy and she shouldn't be in love with him, I feel like she was more mature than a lot of kids her age because she knew exactly what she wanted. Like she never wavered on that. She knew exactly what she wanted, and she knew that there was going to be obstacles, and she still was like, okay, this is still what I want. And, she never wavered on, she wanted to be immortal so she could be with Edward. And, she got married, and then it's like this whole thing shifted. And even like, and like I said, Breaking Dawn, I think Breaking Dawn definitely has my heart. Like just that instant shift into motherhood. And I remember like when I had my first son, I was 24. Was I 24? Yeah, I was 24. And prior to that, I was just wild in clubs and just hanging out and doing all the things. And it's like the minute, like I started slowing down when I found out I was pregnant and got further and further into it. But like the minute my son was born, it was like instant shift. And it was just like so cool to see that in her, especially because of how young she was. That was, I said, yeah, I think we've settled it. Breaking Dawn is definitely my favorite. It's definitely
Yeah.
my favorite.
Well, you said earlier, you rated New Moon a little higher than Breaking Dawn. I did too. I ended up rating New Moon 5 stars, like I said. Eclipse 3.5 stars. While it's the strongest plot wise, it just really pissed me off so much. I couldn't handle it anymore. And then
I
Breaking
loved
Dawn,
it.
I
I gave
actually
it 5
gave
stars.
4.5 stars. And the only reason I didn't give it 5 stars was because going into book
Ooh, I love
3,
that cover.
yeah, she's cute. And we got Jacob on the back. But you don't care about
Always.
him. Going into part 3, where Bella becomes a vampire, I feel this way in the book and in the movie. For about 150 pages of the book, it's like checklist type stuff. Like, oh, Bella's officially a vampire now. People have waited. We have to go hunting. We have to do all these things. We have to test her control. And like, we want to see those things, but it didn't feel like a nice flow. I feel like they could have started kind of introducing the end conflict in that scene or in those scenes, but they didn't. They like went through 150 pages of this is Bella as a vampire. Ooh, now we have a conflict. Let's go solve it and come back home.
I didn't like that either. I didn't like that first day or so because I feel like I don't know. It's like I didn't like it in the book, but I really didn't like it in the movie. It was very obvious that, like, when they were talking about going hunting, she had no thoughts about being thirsty until Edward said
Mm-hmm.
something. And it was just like, yeah, exactly. It was so dramatic.
It's so
Like all of a
bad.
sudden, and then it was just like all of these different things. It was just like, I feel like if it had flowed a little bit more naturally, they would have noticed that, hey, she's not a typical newborn. It took them, like you said, it
Mm-hmm.
took them a while to realize that there's something very different about her. Although I did appreciate the hunting scene because of the whole them being able to see her control her impulse to
Mm-hmm.
go after the hiker or whatever. But it's just like it felt very, very forced because it was just like, it was one of those things where it's like, I don't know, it almost felt like Bella didn't believe, like, not that she didn't believe, like she didn't know she was a vampire, and so they kept reminding her, like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
we need to go hunting so you can not be thirsty. Oh yeah, I'm thirsty. And just all these
Yeah.
different things. And I was just like, it did feel really, really choppy. But like I said, I did appreciate the hunting scene, but I didn't
Mm-hmm.
like the way that led up because it was
Yeah.
just like it really, like, I feel like I was flowing and it just really stopped me in my tracks. Like, you're a newborn vampire that's supposed to be like ravenous. How do you not realize that you're thirsty until someone mentions it? Yeah.
Literally. No, yeah. That scene is honestly Breaking Dawn Part 2 has a few scenes that are just so cringy. They're just so cringy. Amy says, one of the things I really struggled with was that she could only be a strong person as a vampire. Before my reread, I would probably agree with you.
I
But
I don't
now
agree.
I think I think she's actually always got more emotional strength than anyone around her, like literally anyone around her, including some of the vampires. So I think her physical strength just finally catches up when she becomes a vampire. But before this read, I definitely would have 100% agreed.
Yeah, I have never that was another one of those critiques that I've heard over the years about how Bella is seen as this, this weakling damsel in distress, always needs, Edward to rescue her. And I never saw her like that. I always saw her as strong as hell, but not in the way that people would think. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you kept thinking about like she's always tripping or she's always getting hurt. And I'm like, okay, she's clumsy, but that doesn't negate her strength. Like you said, I always thought about her emotional strength. I always thought about her being a teenager, but she's basically cared for her mom instead of her mom caring for her. And now she comes to Forks and she's taking care of Charlie. Like, she's making all the meals and she's doing all the cleaning and laundry. And
Right.
it's just like I've always seen that emotional strength as superior to any physical strength she could have had. But then at the same time, I never saw her as physically weak. It wasn't, it was, just like the scene at her birthday party when she got the paper cut and she's like, oh, no big deal. And then of course it turned into a big deal because she's in a house full of vampires and she's bleeding. And then
And
even
then Edward
when
has to throw her across the room.
exactly, and even then she's just like, okay, yeah, my arm's all cut up and I'm bleeding everywhere. And then Carlisle's sitting there picking glass out of her and she's just sitting there chilling, having a conversation. Like I've
Yeah.
never seen her as weak or as someone, like I even mentioned um in Twilight when she went to oh, what's the other city name? Port Angeles, when she was
Mhm.
about to get attacked in the alley. And I was like, the first thing that she thought of is, where's my pepper spray? Oh crap, I left it at home in my bag. I never unpacked it. And but then the next thing that she does is she grabs her purse a certain way and she gets into a fighter stance. Like she's ready to
Mhm.
defend herself. So I've never seen her as weak. But yeah, I mean, it's to be expected, the physical strength that comes with being a vampire, but I feel like her strength has always been there. And I feel like that
Mhm.
is what made her a better newborn than they were expecting her to be, because she's always had this reserve of strength. She's always had this self control and this discipline about her. And she just took that into being a vampire and it helped her, even more being a newborn. And she didn't
Yeah.
do all of the crazy, wild newborn things that they were expecting her to do. And they were all kind of braced and prepared for.
Yeah. I think it was Robert Pattinson, but it may be someone else. I saw an interview just in all of my reading and rewatching and things recently. But I'm pretty sure it was him that was talking about Edward's character and this idea, and this was actually back when everything was going on, so maybe like 2008, 2009. He was like, the idea that people see Bella as this damsel in distress, I don't see that, because throughout the story, Bella is the one who saves Edward. Edward might be, doing some things that he can do that she can't, but ultimately, when it comes down to how they view themselves, Edward cannot love himself until Bella lets her shield open and lets him see how she views him, and then he can
Very
see that
true.
like from another perspective and really feel it for the first time in a way that he never has. So I think that's really interesting. Um, Amy
That
said,
is
"Yeah, I
that
never
is
liked
very true.
her. Need to go back and read this again while trying to be open-minded." Queen. Also, your thoughts are your thoughts.
Yeah.
Look, if you hate her, that is fine. Half the world does.
I do. I really do. I love Bella. I really do. She annoys the crap out of me. I will not deny that. Up until the very end, even some of the decisions that she makes. I was about to say some of the decisions that she makes in Breaking Dawn with the whole like getting the passports and the documents and everything. But at the same time, that wasn't a bad decision the way that she went about doing. Because at first I was like, well, I didn't agree with her not telling Edward, but then I had to remember that
Yeah.
Arrow could read his mind, so there was a reason for her not telling anybody, knowing that Edward was the one that Arrow was probably going to call on and read his
Mm-hmm.
mind. So that made sense. But yeah, like I said, I love her. I just see her in a different way than most people do, and I just love her. I love her. I
Yeah.
love Edward. I love her and Edward together. I hate Jacob. That's not gonna change.
Well, we've
Um,
talked extensively about the imprinting, but we haven't actually talked about just the character of Renesmee herself. How do you feel? Do you like the introduction? Do you wish that she didn't exist at all? I think I wish that.
I feel both ways. I wish that she didn't exist only because for one, it gave Jacob a reason to stay, but for two, I don't know, I think that's my main thing. I just didn't like the fact that it gave him a reason to stay. I did like her character for a couple of reasons. For one, it allowed us to see another level of growth in Bella
Mhm.
specifically. Um, I don't think like we saw a bit of growth in Edward just in like the pregnancy from hating the thing until when he could finally hear her thoughts and see that she didn't mean Bella any harm and that he loved the baby too. But just
Mhm.
the growth that we saw in Bella becoming a mother, I greatly appreciate seeing that. I also really appreciated seeing her gift and seeing how it was a combination of Bella and Edward. I really like seeing that. And then also I liked, I don't want to say I liked it, but I did like the fact that it brought um the Volturi back, because I always
Mhm.
want to see more of the Volturi. But it also speak, and I have a question for you about this. After reading it, I'm just like, I really like the fact that Stephanie Meyer left it. I feel like there's so many avenues she could have gone with if she wanted to continue writing in the
Mhm.
Twilight Saga. From what I have read in research, she has said that she's not writing anything else from Bella, about Bella and Edward. But then I saw some rumors about her doing a spinoff with Renesmee and Jacob, which I'm
Mhm.
not here for. But
Yeah,
yeah, so I
so
liked her and I didn't like her, but for different reasons.
yeah, kind of playing off that same thing. We'll get into the idea of the spinoff in just a second, but I feel like I like the idea of Renesmee. I like the idea of introducing this new thing that's not been talked about in this world at all, and then finding out that there are more people like her. Very few, but more. I like the idea of it, but I don't at all like how it was employed. It like Renesmee is literally just a plot point and a way for Stephanie to continue writing. She's even said, and hopefully this has changed with all the backlash a lot of fans have given. We'll see. But she said in the like 2012 Comic Con that the reason Renesmee was written was to have a future voice of the series, and I'm like, none of us want it. None of us want it. None of us want it. But I do like I like what the character could have been, and I like the potential of what it could be or what she could be in the future, because we don't know 100% how it's going. I just feel like it was fully finger on the trigger just to get some kind of shock, and also like she kind of wrote herself into a corner because we're literally going to have this huge fight between Jacob and the Cullens and Seth and Leah, and then the wolf pack, unless Renesmee is born. She kind of had to do that because that's the only way to stop the wolves. So it's like Breaking Dawn kind of doesn't
Very
exist without
true.
Renesmee, but also, does that mean that she's a good character? I don't know. I don't know.
Very true. See, now, to be honest with you, and I know everyone would not agree, and I kind of don't agree with myself. It's crazy as this sounds, because I don't like Jacob, but I don't have issues with the rest of the wolf pack for the most part. So, again, I do like Renesmee's character being created and her bringing back the Volturi, but I don't I don't think I would have minded if she wasn't a character and the final conflict was between the Cullens and the Wolfpack. Like I don't
Mm-hmm.
think I would have, because that's basically what it would have had to have been, is
Mm-hmm.
they, once they turned Bella, that's where the conflict was going to be, was the Wolfpack and the Cullens. And
Why?
I I don't know that I would have minded that. Like I kind of would have minded it because I really do like the wolves just as much as I
Mm-hmm.
like the Cullens. I just don't like Jacob, so I kind of would have minded, and I don't want to see them. I like seeing them aligned, but and I like seeing the Volturi come back, but I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I feel
I,
like
I I don't know how else she would have ended Breaking Dawn if Renesmee didn't exist. So
yeah,
yeah,
it's kind of, I don't know. It's Renesmee's just so confusing to me in general. Let me shout out these comments. Hello, Elizabeth, Queen.
hey,
How are you? Amy says, actually, yeah, I agree with Antonisha. I liked Bella a lot more during the Renesmee part, but did not like the imprinting. Yeah.
look, Amy is not gonna let you forget that she did not like that imprint. I did not either. I hate. Listen, to be honest with you, and I said it. I don't know if Amy was here when I said it earlier. It wasn't even that it was a baby and pretty much a grown man. If it had been anyone else in Renesmee, I would have been fine. It's just that it was Jacob, and honestly, it's not just because I don't like Jacob. It's because it was one of those things. Like, to me, I felt like it was a slap in the face, and I don't know if it's like a motherly instinct in me, but it's kind of like, haha, if I can't have you, Bella, I'm gonna have your daughter. Like, that's what it made me feel like, and it made me
Yeah.
so mad. Like, I was so, when I think I threw my book, if I'm not mistaken, when I read that part, because I when I realized what it was, what I thought it was, I was like, it's not what I think it is. It's not what I think it is. And then when Edward and Bella were coming back from their cottage or whatever, and he was kind of making that little smart remark about, oh yeah, Jacob's gonna be sticking around, because Bella was like kind of like, why is Jacob still here? And and it's like I can picture Edward's smirk even when I'm reading the book. And when Edward was like kind of like, oh, you'll see, and then when Jacob got a little hesitant, then I thought back to the other wolf and the little girl he imprinted on, and I was like, oh hell no, I know this is not what it is. And when I read it, I was just like, what? Yeah, I was done. So I don't know.
This is my thing as far as the imprinting goes, and then kind of tying back into the spinoff thing. Also, Elizabeth says, have no idea about these books, but I love y'all. Queen, I'm telling you, one day I'm going to get you to read them, and you're actually going to enjoy it. Just ask Anthony.
Yes, I look, I had all of them, and I read Twilight last year, and I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. And I never continued, and I was like, yeah, they're on my shelf. I'll get to them at some point. Kind of like the Divergent series. I have the whole series on my shelf, and I'm like, am I ever going to read it? Probably not, unless someone asked me to buddy read it. I had a ball. I loved it. And I did not expect to have all these feelings about this book. And like as I've already said, I'm already ready to reread it. Yeah, that was a good time. This was definitely a good time.
Amy says, I agree with that. Did not like that it was Jacob. Same feelings exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it's oh, hold on. I got some more.
Yeah, you have to read them.
I think it was a bit icky. Yeah, for sure. I just
okay.
think that
I haven't made any
that,
progress yet in the 5th season, so I'm gonna act like I didn't see that, because I know who the Guardians and the Origins are, but I didn't go far enough to see what's going on. So obviously something's gonna happen. I need to get back to the 5th season. Amy just reminded me.
Yeah, I feel like. What did I just read? Hold on. Yeah, I feel like the fact that, I don't know, there's just this kind of like exception that people seem to have with the imprinting, because it's like, oh, it's fantasy, age is not a big deal. And I get that for like 16, 17-year-olds that technically in the story are deciding to do whatever they're doing, like Bella. That's fine. But it's just the fact that there is a reason behind it doesn't mean you should do it. Like, there was no thought that, hey, it's fine that I'm writing this, but maybe it's not fine that I'm writing this. You know what I mean? Like, it's just no questioning, no space for questioning at all. That just seems like really weird to me. Like, it's just really odd that you didn't think about that. And you might have and decided to do it anyways. And like, good for you. You made millions and I didn't. So whatever. But it's just odd to me. Elizabeth said, I do love Divergent. Look, I read the Divergent series. I don't really remember how I felt. I mean, I liked them at the time, but I don't remember feelings that I had. So
okay, well, maybe that's a series we could do, because I've never read them, so I don't know. Never read Hunger Games either, so I don't have Hunger Games, but I've never read it.
I really want to reread Hunger Games, like probably started next year, actually.
Okay, so I might have to get those, because I've been thinking about it. I don't have those, but I was like I literally did not read any of the major YA, because I've never, even as that age group, as a child, like I've been reading like Stephen King since I was like 7 years old. I've never read really YA, but I'm definitely interested in reading it. But okay, so this is my thing with the whole imprinting thing, and the whole, like I said, I don't like that it was a baby at all. I really don't like if it had to be a baby, I wish it was someone but Jacob. But this is my thing is, do you think in some people's mind, whether they care that it was Jacob or not, do you think it makes it well, no, I can't say that. I was about to say, do you think it makes it any better with Renesmee, because we know that she's in essence immortal, and so she, and the fact that Jacob is not going to age really until he starts aging, do you think that it makes it a little bit better that Renesmee is going to age? And am I imagining things, or was there a scene? There was a scene at the end of Breaking Dawn, right? That was like, it was a vision or something. Yeah, Alice had the vision, and Renesmee was like teenager or a little bit older. So like, does that make it a little bit better But then I thought about the other little girl that I can't remember if it's Quill or Embry or whoever it was that imprinted on the other little
I
girl,
forget. I know the girl's
Claire.
name is Claire.
Claire, yeah. But she's human, so how is that gonna work? Because
Yeah.
eventually that kind of negates my whole
Well,
question.
the thing
Like,
with
does it matter?
the wolves can continue like being immortal as long as they continue to phase. So if they stop their
When they
phasing,
stop phasing, they
then
do start aging. So I
so
guess
they
in
could
that
stop
case with
phasing
him,
when that person got, their age or whatever. I feel like there is a way for this to be quote unquote okay. I think it's questionable no matter what. Please don't mishear me. Don't get me wrong. I think introducing the idea when Renesmee has literally been born for like 2 weeks and giving her the Quileute like equivalent of a promise ring in the form of a bracelet, all of that stuff is what makes it very no to me, because like she's literally being groomed at this point. If you're just around and you're just protecting and whatever, and that's ultimately how it is described in the book. Like the movies make it a little bit out there, but if you're literally just around and you're protecting or whatever, and then whenever that happens, and they keep using the term 7 years and they'll be 18. I don't think 18 makes you an adult necessarily either. I wasn't ready for a lot of things at 18 either. But I'm just like, if you waited and then like literally in 20 years and y'all are still both the same age, and then y'all kind of start to question, but like just going at it from the beginning like you're gonna marry this little girl is like so weird to me. It's just so
yeah.
weird.
It
um
just, and obviously then you get into the whole choice, or not choice, the whole question of choice and of free will, because it's like, from what I gathered from the imprinting, it's just like this instantaneous thing between both of them, not just between, not just on the wolf's part. So it's just like you've removed any choice that
mhm.
Renesmee has of finding someone else that she wants
Yeah.
to be with, because she is basically tied to you from birth, and not even, she didn't make that decision to be tied to
Yeah.
you. So yeah,
This would be my hope for the series continuing on in terms of this plot line. I would hope that if we get another book, it's not a love story between Jacob and Renesmee. No one
oh
wants
my
it at this point.
god,
Literally,
I
no
would
one
be
wants it. I
you
would
don't.
hope that in the future of the series, Renesmee grows up and then she literally just tells Jacob, hey, this is not what I want. I would rather go in the other guy who we meet at the end of Breaking Dawn. And she travels across the world and she's a full grown, half vampire, half human now, and goes and bees with him. And Jacob is literally just like, that's cool. I'm still going to be a protector because that's what I have to do as a wolf duty. And then he's fine with
I
it.
could
And
do
goes and
that.
falls in love with some human girl, or honestly falls in love with Leah. I think Jacob and Leah could be good together.
I did see that. I saw that. And that, cause so that was, I had a question about that. That I definitely did see. And I would really prefer Renesmee to be with that other dude that's like her. So
Mm-hmm.
I saw that when they were arguing in the woods, and she was talking about, she'll do whatever Jacob asked her to do and just stay out of his way, but she didn't want to go back to, why was I about to call him Paul? I don't know, Sam. But
Yeah.
I I was like, I could see the two of them together. And didn't someone say, I don't know if it's Jacob thinking it, wasn't there a question or something about, does imprinting work for female wolves? Because Leah was the first, right?
Mm-hmm.
She was the first female wolf. I
Yeah.
could see Jacob and Leah together. I could so see that. Like both
Like,
of
what
them
if?
like pushed away by the one that they really wanted and they can't have them. I could see
Yeah.
that.
And see, this is what confuses me too. The whole process of imprinting has nothing to do with anything except for the fact that this person that I have just imprinted on gives me the most likelihood to pass on the wolf gene, to make sure that like my creature existence, whatever, continues on. I'm like, how does imprinting on a half vampire, half human that's literally going to
Ensure
be
a
like
wolf.
frozen in time and probably will not be able to carry that baby? I mean, Bella just had a vampire baby, so I guess it's fine.
But Bella was
But like,
human. She was fully
yeah,
human at the time, so that's different.
I'm like,
Yeah.
if she's like half like vampire and she's fully aged and like her skin is like the glass or whatever, like everyone else is, like that thing, what is happening? Like, what is the whole point of this? It's a huge plot hole.
I don't know. I'm like, it's freaking me out thinking about it because I'm just like, I don't want to think about Renesmee and Jacob making babies if it's even possible.
Yeah.
I don't. I just
And that's
don't.
literally the whole point. Like,
I just don't.
it's kind of ludicrous. It's
It
wildly
is.
ludicrous.
And that's why I'm just like, when I kept seeing these little rumors about her doing this spinoff with Renesmee and Jacob, I'm like, if they're not just the best of friends, I'm gonna have a fit because
Yeah.
I don't want to say. But the thing about it is, Stephanie's whole reasoning saying that Renesmee would be the voice of the series. You're writing about vampires. They're freaking immortal. Like, they're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
They can be their own voice. It's not like you're writing about humans that are going to age and going to die, and so they need to have kids, and the kids and the grandkids make their own. You're writing about vampires. Like, they're always, so it's like, to me, I'm like, you do this spinoff with Renesmee and Jacob. Where are Bella and Edward and the rest of the Cullens? Because I'm pretty sure they're not going to be too far away from Renesmee.
Yeah.
Are you not going to put them in this spinoff at all? Are they going to now be side characters? We're not. No one wants to see that. Like,
literally, yeah, no, I don't. I've literally not met one fan who's like pro Renesmee's point of view. Personally, like, I don't know whose point of view I'd want it to take. I'm over Bella. We've got her story. She is complete, and we love to see it, but we don't need any more. I think, possibly like to see things from Leah's perspective, because we know, and she's also said this, and this has been since Midnight Sun came out. We know that they are going to have another run-in with the Volturi, which it kind of leads to that at the end of the book. Carla's like, we'll stand together, like, and then one of the vampires is like, there might be a time we don't even need the Volturi anymore, and Carla's like, well, we'll fight, like, blah blah blah.
Yeah, because the Romanians, like, they're not gonna, the Volturi's not gonna let this go. Like, you just embarrassed them. That's what I'm waiting for. That, like, can I get like a whole Volturi villain origin story, something like that would be great, or some continuation that, like, I feel like the whole situation with the Volturi is just, it's not resolved, obviously, so there's room to go that route. But then again, you have the whole backstory. Like, I feel like you got all of the Cullens backstory, like all of the individual members' backstories at somewhere in the series. So I don't necessarily want to see like books written from, although I love Alice, I don't want to see books written from any of their perspectives, because I feel like you kind of know all you need to know. And I don't necessarily want to see a book written from the Volturi's perspective, like any of the Volturi, but I mean, it would be cool to get the backstory on at least the three main ones, even if it's, I mean, it would have to be told from their perspective, or it would have to be like their memories or something like that. Like, that would be cool. And maybe like a village in like origin story, like get their backstory leading up to present time, and then another run-in with the Cullens. I could go for that. Look,
I feel like there needs to be a whole cinematic universe, and I feel like in books and movies we need like 2 or 3 more. And I'm missing a light. You can see me. But I feel like in book and movie format, to continue the series, we need to pick up at whoever's perspective, finish out that plot line of, okay, we're going to go on the offense this time. We're going to Volterra City with all of these nomads. Let's end the Volturi. Like, the Cullens are now going to be the ruling family, and they let people just decide what they want for themselves.
Oh, that would be awesome.
And then here's the twist. The twist ending. I want more stuff in the Twilight supernatural world. I want fairies. I want all different types of shapeshifters, and I want them to be hidden because they know the Volturi would come to end them like they did the werewolves. But now with the Cullens in power, they all start coming out of the woodworks, quite literally. And then happy ever after.
You know what? I did not miss that point that one of the brothers was like, no, these are not werewolves. These, these are shapeshifters, if you will. I didn't miss that, because I was like, I wonder where that's gonna go. Obviously can't go anywhere else with this book, but I was wondering if there was gonna be something to pick up on that, because they were still under the impression that even though they wiped out the werewolves, there might be a few of them out there somewhere. But the fact that, because well, at least me, from reading from the beginning, I've always thought werewolves, even though I very clearly know the difference between a werewolf and a shapeshifter, just after reading them so long, but it was just like werewolf, Jacob's a werewolf.
Yeah.
And to have that distinction made, like, in the midst of all these people, it's like, oh yeah, that is a big distinction. I wonder if anything's gonna happen
Yeah.
with it. Like I said, I feel like there's so many avenues that the Twilight Saga or whatever the new thing is that does not include Renesmee and Jacob's story.
Yeah. I feel like that's how I want like the main series to end, but then like maybe TV shows to get like background stories, like Volturi when they took over from the Romanians and like literally they were just sitting there until they were desiccating. Like I want to see all of that. Like I want to see it
Oh
all.
my
I want to
God.
see the
If I could
Amazonian
see a
coven.
Twilight TV show in the vein of like Buffy the Vampire Slayer and then getting spin-offs like Angel, oh, that would be
Mhm.
awesome.
Yeah,
I'm noticing that now too, is that when there are, like, as I'm starting to watch more TV and watch more movies, I am realizing that I do prefer TV shows, because like the past month I have been going through watching all of the Agatha Christie Poirot TV shows that were based on her short
mhm.
stories, and I haven't started watching the ones based on the novels just because I haven't caught up with the novels. But then I just realized like I prefer TV shows because
Yeah.
there's just so much more room to, to do different things and to, dig into the storyline, dig into the character and the character development. So that would be really cool. Although I did love most of the Twilight movies, but a TV show would be pretty great. That'd be
Look,
pretty
I'm a
cool.
little bit like delusional, but I'm like, if y'all don't get it together by the time I'm out of film school, like everyone's gonna have scripts for these TV shows because I'm like, I'm not playing. I'm like, someone will buy it. Someone will try and make more money out of Twilight somewhere, some way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see. Amy said, James, the writer, is leaving the reader with the possibility, sorry, not responsibility, of their mind questioning the appropriateness. They have to realize that when they write it. For sure, yeah. Especially in something that is so directed. I feel like my main thing with the problematic claims of Twilight, I feel like because it's so like kind of it was force fed to like middle school kids, I'm like, we can't expect them to understand that this is problematic, even though it's told that it's problematic. So I feel like that thing specifically is just like when you're reading that as a kid, like that should just be like a weird thing, but it didn't for me. I didn't think it was weird at all. It was just part of the story. I took it as it was. That was the facts. That was all there was, and there was no questioning. So like that's a
Yeah,
thing
because
that should
it's
not just be normalized.
yeah, and that's the thing. Like yeah, that just made me cringe just a little bit because it's like, yeah, because I'm thinking about like my 11-year-old son, and as I'm reading certain books, and like I'll be talking to my husband about it, and my son really he loves horror, and he loves like mystery. Like House of Leaves. He really wants to read House of Leaves, but I won't let him. So I've been trying to find
Mm-hmm.
him like ergodic type literature like that, where it's like twisty turvy, turn to this page to read the next section. And I found him like some old like Goosebumps mysteries that are like create your own adventure type mystery.
I
So
love
he likes,
those. Yeah.
he loves stuff like that. But like I think about it, and there are just so many books that I read and I'm talking about it and I'm excited about it. And he's like, and his questions are like, is that one I can read? Is that one I can read? And it's like I'm having to filter through these books, and it's just like with Twilight, like when I think about it right now, like with Twilight, I probably wouldn't let him read it. I wouldn't let him read
Mm-hmm.
it probably for another couple years, just because, just like you said, he would not understand that that's not right. That's not good.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that I don't want to say nobody kind of raises their eyebrows at it. Obviously, or not Jacob, Edward has a problem with it because he has a problem with Jacob inherently, and obviously Bella has a problem with it because that's her mothering instincts kicking in. But it's like no
Mm-hmm.
one else in the book really says anything about it, and
Yeah.
I noticed that like none of the other Cullens. Well, I mean, they kind of, well, they didn't all treat. It's really just Rosalie that was just so mean to Jacob. But it's like
Yeah.
nobody else really, or even no one with the like in the werewolf on the reservation no, you never saw anyone questioning the imprinting process. It's just like, oh, it's just a thing we do. And no one questioned who they imprinted with, and it was just like it all seems so normal, and it's not normal. And I don't know. It just, like I said, I'm just thinking of Jacob and Renesmee and Claire and the other dude, and it's just like, oh.
Yeah.
Even I'm like even though it's made very clear, like, at least for Claire and the other dude, like, oh, he's just her protector. It's more like a big brother type thing. But we still know as adults, like, we know that the intent
Mhm.
is when this child grows up, they're gonna be married and they're gonna be together.
Yeah.
And yeah. Mm.
Yeah. Amy says she needs to head off for a bit, but we'll
See
see
you,
you later.
Amy.
Love you too, Queen. Thanks for stopping by. We're probably gonna wrap up pretty soon. So
Yeah, we are.
I
But
think
we,
the
we, we
only
could
thing
go
we
on
have,
and on ranting.
honestly, we haven't talked about the Bree Tanner book at all.
Oh, yes.
What were your thoughts
Oh,
of Miss Bree Tanner?
so I gave Britannia 4 stars. Um, I I really enjoyed seeing that side of things because
Mhm.
those are the type of vampires that we're used to reading about. We're used to reading about, I don't want to say bad vampires, but the vampires who hunt humans. And although I did like the fact that I did, but I didn't, if you will. I didn't like the fact that because typical vampires that you read about, they don't really discriminate on who they hunt. Like,
Yeah.
human is human. But I think what's his name, Riley, and the whole gang, like, they specifically targeted bad people um to, I guess, draw less attention to themselves, although that didn't quite work. um
Yeah.
so I kind of didn't like that, but then at the same time, you have to remember why these newborns were created, and why Victoria
Mhm.
was creating them. She didn't want them necessarily to be on the radar. She wanted this army. So I did enjoy reading from that perspective. My favorite part was, well, two favorite parts was the part when she was up in the tree with, what's his name, Diego. Diego's in my
Diego.
head right now. Yeah. So
Yeah.
when she was up in the tree with him and they were overhearing Jane and them in the house of Victoria, and her not knowing what is going on, but me, I'm reading this and I'm like, oh shit, like, I know what's going on,
Right.
but she doesn't know. And it was just like one of those where it's like, obviously, if she knew and she put it together, she would understand, like, okay, we're not meant to survive. But she
Yeah.
didn't know, and it was cool. Like, I do like reading books where we as the reader know more than the character. And so,
Yeah.
like, we see them going into a situation or experiencing a situation, and they don't know what's going on, but we do. And so we're like scared or nervous for them. So I enjoyed that. And then I also enjoyed um on the battlefield fight scene
Yeah.
when she does realize, like, who Jane was and all of this. And she kind of passed that message to Edward and things like that. So it was like, that was really cool. I always wondered, did Jane know that she knew, or was it just she was just a newborn that they were just kind of doing their job and had to kill
Yeah.
them.
I
I always
think
wonder.
I think ultimately Bree was just collateral to prove a point to the Cullens. Like, if the Cullens didn't want to save Bree, they probably would have just let her go. But the fact that they were fighting for Bree to be saved and to protect her or whatever, like, Jane was like, "Oh no, let me
Yeah,
flex real quick."
yeah,
But yeah, I
that
really
that
enjoyed
is
it
true.
too. Like, just how they were like misled to believe that the sun would kill them. And sorry, I'm getting strings. How the sun would kill them and how they had to, like, just stay hidden. I really love the part when they swim, like, to the island or whatever. Just like all these little scenes, and then also just like kind of experiencing to some degree like the horde mentality when people are just kind of going crazy. um,
Yeah.
I thought just everything. It was such a different take from Bella, obviously because very different circumstances. But I would really like to read more books like that in this world, like same type of structure and how the general law works, but just the baddies, I guess.
Yeah, it was very interesting to me that I don't know, like it was one of those things where from other vampire books that I've read, normally newly created vampires, you don't see them, or you see them like later on in life, and like even when they're like, my very first vampire books were Anne Rice books, and
Mhm.
Lestat is still one of my favorite vampires of all time.
Look,
But
I'm looking to get
like,
into those real soon.
okay, I need, so
The first two.
I have the first one, or I think I might have the first three. I know I have the first one. But yeah, I definitely want to reread them. Someone somewhere on BookTube was reading Anne Rice books, and there was like a whole, it was one I had never heard of, and so I went on her website and saw like her massive catalog. So yeah, I
Mm,
definitely want to read them. I'm really like, this reignited my love of vampires, because even like Buffy,
same.
I haven't watched in a while, and I haven't read like any of the books or retellings or graphic novels. So yeah, we might be doing Anne Rice soon. But
Fantastic.
like with the newly created vampires, like normally, like I said, we see them like 50 years, 100 years afterwards, but as they're going back to when they were created, a lot of times they were created and then just left, and so they kind of stumbled around figuring out things on their own. So it was interesting to me, like you said, like that horde mentality, and the fact that they all listened to this leader and nobody thought to, I guess, rebel, if you will, or go out on their own. But
Hmm.
then it made me, because I'm like, you're vampires, you're stronger than humans, you can do whatever you want to do. But then you have to remember the name newborn is very fitting, because they're like a newborn baby. They don't know what to do, and they're looking
Right.
to someone to take care of them and lead them. And so it was just, I don't know, it was really different to me, because like I said, I'm not used to seeing, hordes of vampires like this. Even when I, read or watch something else and there's a coven, they're still very individual people, and they've come to each other and formed this coven. But it's not necessarily, it's a, they may look to one of them as a leader, but it's not like they don't do anything without this leader telling them
Yeah.
what to do. So that whole situation was really weird to me. I
Hmm.
would really like to see something. What's the dude's name that had the stinky special ability?
Freaky Fred.
Yes, I don't know, like he doesn't come up anywhere else, does he?
Well,
Because there's
we
something
have
about him that seemed not
we've been
off, but
told that we've been told Stephanie is planning two more books set after the main series, couple years after, and we've been told that in the last book, so not the next one, but the one after that, that Freaky Fred will return and will play a part of the plot, I guess. So we'll see how it
okay.
happens. I'm interested to know.
Yeah, because I'm like, something about him either made me feel like we had come across him before, or like just the way that like he left, I guess. When him and Bree kind of split up, I just had this
Mhm.
feeling like, okay, he's gonna come back into play. I didn't know, like, especially when I started reading Breaking Dawn, and they were talking about gathering all of these friends as witnesses, that it made me wonder, like,
Mhm.
is he like a long lost friend of the Cullens and he's gonna show up? I don't know. It was just something about him that made me think that like he's got a bigger role to play, but I don't know what. Or maybe
Yeah.
I just want him to have a bigger role to play.
Yeah, he's such an interesting character, and I mean, it's such a short little slice. I'm like,
I
we've
know.
literally got bricks over here of Bella, but Bree didn't
I
get
know, and like
anything.
even reading the name, The Short Second Life of Bree Tanner, I don't know why I feel like I should have known what was gonna happen in the end, but I really was rooting for her to survive
Yeah.
and join the Cullens. Like when they offered her that, I was like, oh, that would be really cool for her to join the Cullens. And especially because in my mind, again, I'm thinking about the whole story, and I was like, she knows some stuff that she doesn't really know she knows.
Hmm.
But if she joined the Cullens and maybe Edward read her mind or something, and so like that would have been
Yeah.
cool. But of course,
Yeah.
Stephanie goes and kills her off. So
Yep.
there's that. Like,
Sad.
I
She
know,
did say
like
that that's one of her biggest regrets was killing Bree.
she could have kept Bree. Bree could have joined the Cullens. Jacob could have died, and we could have been all fine. See?
Oh no, but then, what would we rip our hair out over in Breaking Dawn?
Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh. Well, I think we like kind of touched everything
Yes.
actually.
It
Like I
this
felt like I was gonna be too kind of jumpy, but I feel like we got kind of everywhere I thought about when reading, honestly.
yeah, this was, like I said, this was really, really a fun time. Like that's why I don't know if you've seen, oh, you're behind on videos, but and I have another
Mhm.
video coming out tomorrow showing how I plan my TBR. And so I was
Mhm.
like doing behind the scenes of setting up my cart, and I was like, so Midnight Sun is on my TBR cart and on my TBR for this month, but I'm like, it was like one of my lower priorities. Like if I didn't get to it, no big
Mhm.
deal, because I knew you weren't reading it. But it's just like I really want to read it, and I really want to read Life After Death, but I'm just like, I have to keep reminding myself, like, this isn't a continuation of the series. You're going back to the beginning.
Yeah.
And then, because
Going
I'm
back
like,
is just like it kind of I don't know. I would personally say like if you're not just dying to read it, just like put it off until you're literally just feeling it one day and you pick it up randomly because that's probably going to be the best way to enjoy it. Um,
I'm thinking so too, because right now, like I said, and that's why I put it at the end of my cart. And I'm like, this is like the lowest on my priority. If I don't get
mhm.
to it, I won't be mad. And looking at all these chunky books I have in addition to it, I probably won't get to it. But I
Yeah.
think that is a good idea, because I feel like I'm not going to really enjoy it the way that I probably should, knowing how much I love Edward, and this is from his perspective. I think
Hmm.
I think I'm gonna be disappointed because I want a continuation, and this is taking
Yeah.
me back to the beginning. And it's gonna be like, I already know this
There
stuff.
are some ways
I
of
just read
difference
about it.
though. You definitely get some information that makes it worth reading. You just get more scenes, more Cullen stuff that's really cool. But yeah, I may end up reading it around like the end of November, start of December. But I just know it is probably going to be, if I don't read anything else this month, I'm reading it. So,
Yeah, I've got it and Cress and Ferris, Jade City, two
oh
Riley
yeah, I do have to look.
Sagers. Yeah, I've got a lot. I think including Midnight Sun and Octonami, that other book, I think is like 62 or 6,300 pages this month.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's a lot, but I don't think it's too bad. Like I said, provided that like I don't have anything major with my health, I think it should be pretty okay. This week has been a bit of a wash, because my little ones, they just had like the sniffles and cold because the weather
Right.
changing. But there was a COVID case at my 4-year-old's school, and so when we kept him home for 2 days, they were like, he can't come back without a negative COVID test. And so we kept all the boys home and got them
Mm-hmm.
tested. We just got their results back, so we're gonna keep them home tomorrow, but they're going back to school on Monday. So that'll give me a little bit more free time during the day to read,
Yeah.
because right now my goal is I need to read 204 pages every day to get through my entire TBR.
I think my
Uh,
only goal for the rest of the year, which I didn't really do goals this year, like I think we've talked about before. But my only goal was to just read a book a week, so 52 books a year. And I crossed that this month. So I think I'm just
cool.
gonna bump up my goal to like 75 books. That gives me like 3 months to read 20 books. So I think I can do that with school going on. But also,
That's
if
not
I
bad.
can't, it's fine because school is
I
taking
honestly,
everything. It's
what I
taking
would say,
everything.
I wouldn't bump. I said leave your goal where it is, because I've seen a lot of people do that, and I think that's what I'm going to do next year. Like this year, I set my goal for 100 books, and I just hit 80 books. So I've got 3 months to read 20 more. So I know I'll hit the
Mhm.
100. But I've seen, starting next year, I think I'm going to do my goal is 52, and then anything after that is just bonus. And I've seen a
Yeah.
lot of people doing that, where they know that they read like 100, 120 books a year, but they only set their goal at 52. And then they just read, and then anything after
Yeah.
that is extra. Because I feel like
It just
if
takes
you up
away.
your yeah, if you up your goal to 75 and then you don't hit it, I feel like you might get disappointed in yourself,
Yeah.
forgetting that your original goal you did hit. So I say leave
Yeah,
it at
that's
52,
true.
and then just anything else after that, you're like, I already hit my goal for the year. I'm just having fun now,
That's true. Yeah,
with anything
100%.
else.
Because if I see the bar and it's not full, I'm going to be bothered by that.
Yeah, and you're gonna stress about it. So it's just like, like I said, just leave it. And that's why I said that's what I'm going to do next year, because next year I am like this year I've read a lot. Most of the books I've read this year are much bigger than what I've normally read because I got into fantasy and sci-fi. But like next year, I'm trying to finish out the Throne of Glass series. I'm trying to do the whole Cosmere next year and a whole bunch of other stuff. So it's just like the number of books that I read is not going to be important to me. The actual books I read, and like this year and most of last year was all about building my library. And now that I have it, next year is all about reading from my library. So I'm not
Mhm.
going to put myself on a book buying ban, but like the past few months, I've slowly just slowed down what I've been buying as far as books. So I've got,
Yeah, actually,
I think my
I like.
physical TBR is like 600. I have 680 books on my shelf that I
Oh
haven't
wow,
read yet.
that's wild.
Yeah,
That's precious.
that I haven't read yet. I think I have over 1,000 physical books, but like 600 something I haven't read yet. And a lot of them are fantasy and series because I never used to
Yeah.
read series. I just used to read standalones, and now I've got like bunches of series. Oh, I just looked at Leviathan Wakes. Did you finish it?
I did finish it. Oh my god, it's so good. It's
I
so good.
told you, I told you, I
I
told
know
you.
Amy got to start it, but she didn't get to finish it. So I don't know that we'll pick it up this next month. Actually, I'm not going to pick it up this next month,
I'm not gonna pick it
because
up in
of
November either.
it. But yeah, I'm really
Oh no,
interested
October.
in getting further. It just the whole. I was truly mind blown. Like I was literally sitting there within like 5 pages. I was like, how do y'all have me so hooked? Like, whose head is on the floor? Like,
Yes, when I tell you it from the very beginning, it just jumped in and it just went and it just kept going.
Mhm.
And I was like, I was like, okay, somewhere in the middle, we're gonna hit a lull and we're gonna, do something. But no,
Never happened.
it just kept like we had our little moments, like when Holden and Miller were both like in the infirmary on the ship. And you had
Hmm.
that little moment, but it didn't last for very long, and it was just right back into the action. So I
Hmm.
cannot wait to read the next one. I think I might pick it up in, oh no, never mind. I was going to say I might pick it up in November, but I'm reading 11/22/63. Although, even though that is a chunker, it does go by pretty fast.
Hmm.
And I've already read it twice, so this will be my third time reading it. So I think I might, I don't know. I want to wait for you guys. So even if we wait till December or start at the beginning of next year, it doesn't matter. But yeah, I definitely want to get back into that one because that was so much fun.
Yeah, I definitely want to start it soon. Honestly, like what I'm gonna do for my TBR this month, because the month has just slipped right away. I'm not gonna do my TBR game. I'm just gonna have a wrap up video, talk about the few books I know I'm gonna read. So like the lunar read along and everything. But then I'm probably just gonna have a few tentative like reads that I might want to get to if I have the time, and I'll probably put the second one on there, but I'm not planning on it because it's just so big, and like
Yeah,
the writing in those books is pretty small too. Like it
it
took me a
is.
hot.
Yeah, I'm definitely not getting to it in October. Like I already have that TBR set. I may, I think I might put it on November's TBR and
I'll
try to
shoot for
get to
November,
it.
and then that
Yeah,
gives me
prioritize it.
October to finish the first one as well if
Yeah,
she wants to join us by then.
yeah, that'll be cool. That'll be cool. So I'll put that on November's because October is packed, and we're taking the kids to Carowinds for like a we're going to Charlotte for like a week or half a week or something like that because they have like my older son has a full week off, and then my younger son has like the Monday and Tuesday off, so we're going for like an extended weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's, even though it's going to be early, that's going to be like our family. We do like a family gift, which is normally like a Christmas gift, which is like an experience. So we're getting season
Yeah.
passes to Carowinds. Because we've been going to like a lot of amusement parks lately, and and Carowinds is just like an hour from us. So we're
Mm-hmm.
gonna
That'll be
do
fun.
season passes, and yeah, we're gonna take them because they will have the kitty like Halloween stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
Because they can't go to the Hollow Screams, the big stuff. And then we're gonna go back in winter for their Winter Wonderland thing too. And then next year we can use it for the water park and the because we were gonna get um season passes to the water park here in town, or
Yeah.
like Carowinds is like an hour down the road, and we could just go for the weekend, do the water park and the amusement park every weekend if we wanted to. So
Yeah.
that'd be
Look,
fun.
I've been telling myself all summer that I was gonna do something, somewhere, sometime like a water slide, just something, anything water, and I didn't. It just
Yeah,
the whole
we did a couple trips to the water park this summer, and it was really fun.
the time just like literally, I don't know. Being an adult is so different than being a kid.
It is.
It's so different.
I just thought about something too. Since we're
Mhm.
talking about Twilight and we're talking about trips, let me know what the plan for Forks is, because when I told you about it before, so my husband and I did not go on a honeymoon when we first got married, and we
Mhm.
just booked our very delayed honeymoon. So we are going on a 9-day Caribbean cruise in December of next year. We're actually leaving the
Mhm.
day before my birthday. And I know you were talking about the end of next year for that Forks
Mhm.
trip. So let me know. I didn't know, because I haven't looked into it or heard
Yeah.
anything about it. So I don't know if like you have to go at a certain time of year or what the deal is with that.
You can kind of go anytime, but the thing is, you can actually stay in St. Helens, Oregon, in the house that they filmed the first Twilight movie in, like the Swan House. And
Hmm.
so, like, it's literally the full house. But you have to book it a year in advance because it's sold out a year in advance.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of the only thing. But then also, with that being so expensive, hopefully trying to get like a little group together. But also, while we're just in the area, I think Amy also lives in Oregon, if I'm not mistaken, or Oregon or Portland. Well, Portland is Oregon. Somewhere she lives somewhere
I thought Amy was
in
in
the group.
Washington State.
Maybe that's it,
Yeah.
Washington.
Yeah,
But
Amy's in Washington State.
one of
And that's why
those.
I thought about it, because isn't Forks, the fictional Forks, in Washington?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's why I always
So
remembered it while we were doing.
we can make a little day trip and have some book shopping with Amy, possibly.
That would be awesome, because I'm actually
Yeah.
planning. My husband just told me, I was watching somebody's booktube video. It was someone I just started following, and she did like a reading retreat. So she went to a bed and breakfast, and it was here in North Carolina in Asheville, which is like an hour and a half from me. So she stayed at a
Mhm.
bed and breakfast, and downtown Asheville has a lot of independent bookstores. And so I was watching that vlog, and I was like, oh, that would be really cool. And
Mhm.
my husband was like, at the end of the year, like early December, I like to go on what I call like a planning retreat. So sometimes
Mhm.
I'll just book a hotel room in town just to get away from the house and think about like big planning for the next year, like trips and, just kind of getting my whole calendar set up. And
Right.
so he was like, hey, why don't you go on one of those retreats like that girl did? And you could do like your reading and you could do your planning and you could blog. I was like, oh, that's a good idea. So I may be doing that this December, right after my birthday.
I love
So
a
I'm
little
kind of,
like personal trip to
yeah.
just be in silence. Like
I used to do it. So I used to do it every quarter. And I'm trying to get back to that. So like on a quarterly basis, I would probably just book like one night at a local hotel. And my husband works for Hilton, so we get travel discounts. So it's like
yeah.
$35 to stay at a Hilton. So I would just book one night and get away from the house and the kids and just like work on my planning for the next quarter. And I want to get back into doing that. But at the end of the year, I always do like a whole weekend and go just a little bit further, but like not too far from home, because
Mhm.
it's like my annual kind of planning retreat, but then also it's a birthday present for me too. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of trying to settle on the dates, because I'm doing Vlogmas and doing a video every day. So I want
Yeah.
to plan some content around that, and especially like on my other channel, I'm talking about going on a planning retreat, and then I think I want to vlog the whole time that I'm there and put a vlog up or something. So
While we're on that, let me look up your other channel because for a hot second I thought that you were going to be bridging the two, but then I remembered that you said you were going to post to both channels. And I need to make
yeah,
sure that I'm on your other channel. I think I am, but I'm not sure.
I think it is. It's just it's Antonisha Lachey.
Oh, okay.
I think let me see if I can post do I still have this? Let me post it in here. Um but I was planning on putting both on this one channel, but like I said, YouTube's algorithm does not like that.
Yeah.
And then also that channel is going to be the start of building my business brand. So I was like, in the long run, it would be better to have them separate. Um, So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Because what I was doing is I was posting to this channel 4 times a week, sometimes a little bit more. So I've kind of redone my schedule. So on this channel, I'll post Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then
Hmm.
on my other channel, I'll post Tuesday and Thursday, and keep the weekends free. And then that way, if I want to like go live and do reading sprints on this channel or do like productivity sprints on that channel, I'll always have
Yeah.
my Saturdays open to do that. And then Sundays, especially now because it's football season, don't want to do anything on Sundays. So
Yeah, Sundays are not it for me. Sundays are like just fully a day to do nothing.
yeah, it's like my husband, he's just been working like so many extra hours lately. So the one thing, like he makes sure that he's off on Sundays. So, and we've just found a new church. So we're going to try to start going to a new church on Sunday morning. And we get home in time to eat lunch and binge football. And then, like I said, especially with the kids all being in school, there's like, I have like the Sunday prep routine of like getting their uniforms and their clothes ready and putting lunches and all of that stuff. So it's like I try not to do anything else on Sunday, but just have pure family time because
Hmm.
here lately, like I said, my husband, he's been working like 6 days a week. So Sunday, sometimes it's his only day off. So it's just family time.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
we,
Robbie is here. I
hey,
just got
Robbie.
home. Tanisha's talking about her planning retreat.
Yes, I see. Robbie knows. I used to talk about my planning retreat all the time. I'm getting back into it. My husband actually brought it up. So this year in December, right after my birthday, I'm gonna do a weekend planning retreat. I'm gonna do a video on my planner channel talking about like how to do one and what you should do like to help plan for the year. And then I'm gonna vlog while I'm gone. And I think what I think I'm gonna do is I think I'm gonna do two separate vlogs. So what I just realized lately, I have a couple videos that would work on both channels. And originally I had plans, especially during Vlogmas, because I'm putting up a video every day in December
Hmm.
on this channel, but I'm still putting up 2 videos a week on the other channel. So it's like 7 videos a
Oh
week.
wow.
So I was like, I could duplicate some of the content, but then as I was doing some research, Google will give you a strike for, not Google, YouTube will give you a strike for putting the same content on multiple channels.
Oh really?
So even if you change the title name, like the algorithm can search the content and see it's the same video, and they will give
Hmm.
you a strike on it, and give
Wow.
you basically a copyright claim, even though it's your own content. So I've had to like go back where I've had times where I was going to post the same video on both channels and do something different. So I think like when I go on that retreat, I'm gonna vlog, but because I'm going to be reading, but I'm also going to be planning. So I'm just going to do kind of two separate videos and post them both on each channel. But yeah.
Yeah. Robbie says, I'll catch the replay for what I missed before I got home. Feel free because we went
Yes.
in on this Twilight thing. Do you
Yeah.
like my new shelf?
I love those shells. Like that is my inspiration for my Agatha Christie shells. Like right now I just have the short three three shells, but I'm already looking around my room trying to figure out where I can add in more shells. Like I do have, let's see if I can turn this. Like I do have like that whole wall right there. So like that's the Agatha
Hmm.
Christie shelf, but like all of this stuff on the walls, I could always take them down and
Yeah.
extend my wall shelves. Because originally that was my plan. That was my plan was
Yeah.
to extend the wall shelves. And then my desk here has this big hutch on top, and I can take it off and just make it an open L-shaped desk, which would give me more wall space. And it'll
Hmm.
also give me options for other places to put it. So I've been thinking
Yeah.
about rearranging in here if I take the hutch off because I want a big bookcase for my Agatha Christie stuff. But I can't take the big one I have behind my door because I have so many classics. And so I'll figure it out. But yeah, that's my inspiration for my Agatha Christie shelf because I've seen like other booktubers that are big into Agatha Christie. Like I've seen like some collector's editions of books they have. Like I want the Barnes and
Hmm.
Noble exclusive editions of all of them. And then
Yeah.
I've seen like some like Poirot and Miss Marple figurines and just all kinds of different things that I want to start collecting for it. So when you showed me that picture, I was like, ooh, that's like my inspiration
Yeah.
for my Agatha Christie shelf.
I think
Oh,
um I think it's gonna have to move like relatively soon. I have it here for now so I can sit here and like film my content probably after the quarter at this point, to be honest, for all of the notes and everything I have for Twilight. Also I just want to fucking break. I want to break. But I have it here for now, but I think eventually, like, I'm already looking around and I'm like, I have room to grow, but the whole point of getting so many extra shelves was to have everything feel airy and light. So I may just move all this stuff back onto the black shelves that I had and just put it in the living room.
That would be really cool. So that's what I'm trying to do now because I have the white shells that you have. I have four, five, six. I have six of them in the kids' playroom next door, and they only use like two of them. And then two of them have some of my other nonfiction is out there, and then one of the shelves is empty. So like I said, I'm moving two of them into my dining room, like one on either side of this picture window we have facing the backyard, and that's where I want to put all of my nonfiction and my Christian nonfiction and extra Bibles. And I think the other four I'll just leave in there because like we organize their toys on the shelf, but I'm always like thinking about, the shelves that I have like in the living room or dining area in the public areas, like what am I
Mm-hmm.
gonna put on them? And then our fireplace is like centered and we have blank walls on either side. So I could either sit bookcases on either side or I can just put floating shelves like I have here. And I've been thinking about
Mm-hmm.
that and displaying some stuff, but I don't know what yet. So like
Yeah,
every
that would
time
look.
I think like my shelves are getting full and my husband's like, but you got a million and one places in this house that you're already plotting on putting more shelves. And I'm like, yeah, pretty much. So I've always got room, always got room to grow. So there's that.
Look, I got these literally so cheap online, like so cheap because some lady was selling them. I guess I don't even think she lived at this house that when I got them from anymore because they were like so dusty. But I was literally like, if I go to IKEA, these bookshelves are like $400, and I'm paying like
Yeah.
25% of that. So
Yeah.
yeah,
When
I
I yeah,
figured,
when I measured out this room before we did it, I was gonna get the Billy bookcases from IKEA, and I think my total for all the shelving that I was gonna do was like 800 something dollars. And then there were still like gaps because they only fit a certain space. And then I
yeah.
saw a picture of shelves like this on Pinterest, and I was like, I
Mhm.
can make this fit my space exactly, and I was
Yeah.
like, why not? And so yeah, this was, and I think I paid for all of my shelving and my brackets. I think I ended up paying like $300 maybe.
Yeah.
So yeah, a whole lot cheaper. And like I said, I do still have space to grow. Like if I want to take stuff off the wall, I can extend the shelves. And then I'm not gonna take this down, but like this is all wall, and like this whole wall over here is what my desk hutch is taking up. So this is so
Yeah.
much better. And if we ever move, which we plan on it, because this is just not our dream house, but probably in the next 4 or 5 years, we plan on moving again. And so I can just take these down and rebuild them
Yeah.
to fit the new space. So
They're a lot better for travel too. Like traveling with
yeah,
these,
because those
so
big,
risky.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Mine in the room next door. We've had them for a couple of years, and we had them from our apartment to here, and they're a little wobbly, and like they're literally the ones on the back wall are kind of holding each other up, and then they're mounted to the wall so the kids can't pull them down. But yeah, I don't like after this. I don't think I would ever go back to regular bookcases. Like I'm either gonna have
Yeah.
shelves like this or maybe in a future house, like get them like custom built in. But I just like this. And
Yeah.
I like the fact that if I really wanted to go through the hassle of taking a freaking 1,000 books off the shelf, I could just take it down and rearrange it, but that's
Right.
not happening. That's
Yeah.
not
I like
happening.
possibilities. Possibilities are great.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
all right, Queen. Well, I think my partner is about to be here, and I have not seen him in a couple weeks. So
oh
I
wow.
think I think I'm going to head out. But I literally had so much fun. So
Yeah,
much
this
fun with
was
this
so much
trash.
fun. This was a lot of fun. Like I said, I'm still debating on Midnight Sun right now, but I'm like I said, I'm gonna keep it to the end, and I really feel a call to read it, I will. But like I said, I just like my heart right now is still wanting a continuation of the series, and I don't want to read Midnight Sun as much as I love Edward and not enjoy it because it's like, oh, we're going back to the beginning and we're not continuing
Yeah.
on from the end. So
Yeah,
we'll
for
leave it
sure.
at that. But I'm gonna go. I'm already in bed clothes. So I'm just gonna go and finish Scarlet.
Yes,
I'm
finish
like I
Scarlet.
said, I'm trying to like I read this in the past like 2 hours before we got on. So
Uh-huh.
I'm at page 154,
I have full faith that you
and I'm probably gonna finish it tonight just because, like I said, with the whole getting the COVID testing, my kids are not going to school tomorrow, so I don't have to get up in the
Yeah.
morning. And I don't know what time my husband goes to work, but I think he doesn't go until a little later. So I'm gonna stay up probably until 2, 3 o'clock in the morning until I finish this book, because I swore up and down on my box office TBR game that I would have this book done in September, even though past midnight is technically October 1st, but I don't
Look,
count it
until
until
you go to
October
sleep,
1st until I go to sleep. Exactly.
until
It's
you
not
go
a
to
new day
sleep,
until I
it
go to
is
sleep.
fair game. And sometimes if you have 20 pages when you wake up, it's still fair game.
No, my thing is as long as I get halfway through, so as long as I get what 200 and this is 505 pages. As long as I get 253 pages done, which is less than 100 pages, so I'll definitely get that done. I'm considering it good for September. So, yeah. But
Yeah,
I'm
you'll
loving
definitely
this.
get
Like
there.
I'm loving this more than I love Cinder, and I really really like Cinder.
That's how I felt too. I really, really enjoyed it. Paige is here. Hi, sorry I'm late. Look, it is literally fine. We're always late.
Yeah, pretty much.
um,
Yeah,
but yeah,
we're getting ready
we're
to cut out in a
actually
little bit, so catching the replay. I have a question for you, Paige, and you, James, and Amy. I will send y'all some private messages on in the Discord server, because I'm planning
granted.
something. I'm planning something for next year, and this just reminded me. So yeah,
Look, I love
so we'll
plans.
talk about
Definitely hit me up. But yeah,
it.
we're actually about to head out, but feel free to binge all of our thoughts. Honestly, this whole video is probably like word vomit,
Yes,
based
but
around
it was
sparkly
fun.
vampires. So
It
there you
was,
go.
but yeah, I loved this one more than the last one, just obviously because we finished the series. So it's just like being able to go back and think about what happened in the beginning and how it ties
Mhm.
to the end, and just all the thoughts came out.
Yeah,
Because it's like
and
the
I love
last
that
one is
these just kind of like induced thoughts for us too, because the first ones we just liked them, and like I mean I
yeah,
love New Moon. There are thoughts there. I could talk about how much I love it all day, but I like having more dynamic thoughts than wow, this was great.
yeah, and it was just, and especially for me having never read them, after reading the first two, it was just like I have thoughts, but I don't know where this is gonna go. So I don't know if the
Mhm.
thoughts are even valid or relevant or what's gonna happen. I just have expectations, what I want to see happen. But now that it's all, I've read it all, it's just like I've got thoughts, I've got opinions and feelings, and she needs to get to writing something other than what she's planning. Like I don't want to see
Yeah.
Renesmee and Jacob. I love Renesmee. I just want Jacob to die. I just
Give
do.
us a Renesmee story. Just give us the story of how she turns down Jacob.
Yeah, and goes with the other dude that's like her.
Yeah. And like
Yeah.
instead of setting it in 2 years, like why don't we set it in like 13 years? Because like y'all keep saying 7 years, like that's still weird to me. I'm sorry.
Well, no, because she's, yeah, that is still weird because she's only like what, 5 at the end? Technically, like I'm just thinking about in
Yeah.
the I'm thinking about in the movie when I saw her, she looks like she's the equivalent of maybe 5 years old. I wouldn't even
Hmm.
say any older than that. So even in 7 years, I'm still gonna be thinking of her as a 12-year-old, even though she is aging so fast. Yeah, no, no,
Yeah.
I need to
Look, we
see
can't
her
get back into it.
18, 19, 20 years old. Yeah,
We can't get back into it.
yeah, yeah, we
I feel
can't,
like
because we're,
half the conversation was about this, and
yeah, and
honestly,
I
it's
feel like
so hard
we're
not to
starting
go
to
in the
slip
hole.
down that rabbit hole again. So we've got to stop. We've
We
got to
do,
stop.
but this was literally so fun. I can't wait till the next one. So either Anne Rice or the Hunger Games or whatever we decide on next, it's going to be super
Yeah,
fun.
it is. Oh, it's gonna be
But
fun. I'm
also,
excited.
thanks to anyone who is here, anyone who stopped by, anyone who gave us love. Hello, I hope you're doing amazing. And with that, I'm just gonna push the end broadcast. Goodbye, lovely people.
Bye.